Now, if you look at this entire GBM, Ganges Brahmaputra Meghna basin as such, you find that there's a very interesting development paradox in here. This interesting development paradox is all about ample water, ample poverty. Now, in this ample water, ample poverty paradox, what essentially emerges is that why essentially we do not get into the right kind of use of water for the developmental purpose, something that is going to help us out, because there are indigenous practices of essentially managing the water. There were practices by way of which we used to put flood water to optimum use prior to the colonial era. And it is essentially colonial engineering which changed the entire dimension of water governance in this part of the world. And they brought in what we call the reductionist engineering paradigm, construction of dams and barrages, which eventually lead to rather treating water as something like not essentially as an ecological entity, but something like a stock of resource which is going to be used as per human need. But water or a river is not a stock, it's a flow. And it's a flow which has been formulated lately by Bandyopadhyay. I'm just reiterating his terms, that is the waves, water, energy, biodiversity, sediment. But there is another element beyond the waves, that is the society. Apart from water, energy, biodiversity, sediment, there's the social dimension to it and the cultural dimension as well. But if I stick to webs, water, energy, biodiversity, sediment, this is essentially a dynamic equilibrium. A dynamic equilibrium in the sense that the Himalayan system, river system, essentially carries water. Along with it, it carries energy. It sustains the biodiversity in the process. The downstream biodiversity provides ecosystem services to the community, broader community as a whole. It carries a huge amount of sediment along with it. Now, this sediment, which you mentioned, of course, has its own problems, but it also provides ecosystem services because the liquid flow by itself carries the solid flow, that is the sediment, and the sediment goes further down to the delta, to the plains, and then to the delta, eventually helps in the soil formation. This is a very, very important service, an important, what we call a supporting service of the ecosystem.